After 30 years, Adam Sandler has returned to the hockey player turned golfer in Happy Gilmore 2. Hi, my name's Zach. Oh, man. Before we get started talking about Happy Gilmore 2, I started this YouTube channel because I cannot watch a movie without needing to talk about it afterwards. And if that sounds like you're in the right place. Consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, leave your comments down below. What did you think of Happy Gilmore 2? What are your thoughts on the first Happy Gilmore? I want to hear your stories told in the comment section below. As for me, I love the first Happy Gilmore. I'm not the biggest Adam Sandler comedy fan, but some of the runs that he had in the 90s, I really enjoy. And the top of that tower, the cream of the crop, as they say, was Happy Gilmore for me. I adore that movie. It's so quotable. It's so funny. That is a movie where Adam Sandler was kind of just working at his peak in comedy, in physical comedy. It's all subjective as comedy is, but that is personally my favorite Adam Sandler movie. So, when I heard that Adam Sandler was making Happy Gilmore 2, and that specifically he was making Happy Gilmore 2 for Netflix because he has the Netflix deal where all of his movies basically just go to Netflix now, I basically hung my head low like I'm doing right now, and I had no faith whatsoever in Happy Gilmore 2. Adam Sandler's comedies have really not worked for me lately. I can honestly say the last Adam Sandler comedy that I personally enjoyed was Grown Ups, all the way back whenever that was, 2009. I don't even remember when that movie came out, 2010. It's been a minute. It's been a while since Adam Sandler's comedy, at least in the movies, has worked for me. And Netflix movies themselves do not have a very good track record with me. There's a couple. In fact, this year they put out K-pop Demon Hunters, which I had no interest in checking out. People kept telling me to watch it, and I actually really enjoyed that movie a lot more than I thought I was going to. But for the majority of their stuff, I honestly don't think that they make very good stuff. So you team that up with Adam Sandler, who hasn't really hit with me comedy-wise. Netflix movies that haven't hit for me. If I were to make a least anticipated movies list, like I do with my most anticipated movies list at the beginning of the year, this would have been top of the list. I was not anticipating this. I wanted it to go away. I didn't want them to make it just because, for selfish reasons, I love that first one so much. But because I'm a completionist, I hate myself, whatever the reason is, I decided to pop this on Netflix and give it a watch. And I finished it, and I watched it all the way through. You know what? Let's talk about what worked. Let's talk about what worked about Happy Gilmore 2. Because as much as, there's no mystery here. I didn't like this experience. I didn't like this movie. I do see things in it that worked. First of all, Adam Sandler as Happy Gilmore himself. One of my fears going into Happy Gilmore 2 is when Happy Gilmore came out, Adam Sandler was in like his, late 20s. Maybe he was in his 30s, but he was young enough that when he's playing this well-mannered character, kind of man-child, that has this very short fuse where if people just get him a little bit annoyed or angry, he goes off on them, punches them in the face, beats up Bob Barker, whatever it is. That works for Adam Sandler in the 90s when he's at that age. Adam Sandler, and to that extent, Happy Gilmore, is nearly 60 years old in this movie. He's 58 years old. And so that same kind of shtick that he did in the 90s, it doesn't really work that well when you get this old. We saw the same mistake in Dumb and Dumber 2, where Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels were in their 60s when they played Lloyd and Harry again, but they played it as they played them when they were in their 30s. And it just came across mean-spirited, and it came across as pathetic when they played the characters the same way. I was very nervous that Adam Sandler was going to make that same mistake with Happy Gilmore. But to my surprise, I felt like Adam Sandler in this movie was able to play Happy Gilmore. He still felt like he was Happy Gilmore, but he was older. He was aged. He still had that short fuse, but it was also kind of reined in a little bit. You could tell that this was a character that has been through life, that's been through the ringer. We'll talk about some of those choices of how he went through the ringer a little bit later in this review. But I thought that Adam Sandler actually did a pretty decent job of bringing Happy Gilmore back 30 years later and feeling like it had been 30 years later and 30 years of experience to that extent to the character of Happy Gilmore. On top of that, Happy Gilmore, he's now this kind of famous, legendary golfer, like you would kind of expect Happy Gilmore to go on to be. So the way that the film kind of plays with his fame, plays with the fandom, plays with how people instantly recognizes them, I did have a little bit of fun with that. It was kind of fun to see Happy Gilmore with that fame and to some extent success. There's also a family-oriented kind of story going on in here with Happy Gilmore where he does have a family. He's got like 4 boys and a daughter. And a lot of the story in this is why he gets back into golfing is to try and support his daughter to go to school, which in the similar vein of the first movie where he got into golf to help save his grandmother's house, it gives Happy Gilmore kind of a noble cause as to why he's getting back into golf. And in that way, I did find that there were likable elements to the character still that I was very pleasantly surprised to see. Also, being a big fan of the first Happy Gilmore, there is some fun in seeing the almost entire cast return in this one, where you've got Shooter McGavin back and you've got Ben Stiller back as Hal H. And so I'll talk about issues I have with how their characters are integrated into the story, but the fact that Adam Sandler brought those characters back, put them back in a Happy Gilmore film, as someone who really likes the first Happy Gilmore, I did enjoy that aspect of the film. There's also some creative things they do with some of the golf sequences in the movie, because a lot of the story kind of revolves around Happy Gilmore playing traditional golf against a team of golfers who are trying to make a extreme golf. They're trying to update and improve golf today to make it more entertaining. So they got like obstacle courses and all this kind of crazy extreme stuff that they've added to golf, where Happy Gilmore and his friends want to keep golf traditional. There was some interesting golfing sequences and some creative golf sets that were kind of made and developed to go along with those. So with all that kind of out of the way, like I said, I personally really did not like this movie. So let's go to the segment where we talk about what did not work for me about Happy Gilmore 2. It is a comedy. This is a comedy film. Comedy is the most subjective thing in the world. It is the most difficult thing to review at times, because certain things will make you laugh that won't make me laugh, and certain things will make me laugh that won't make you laugh. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the comedy was good or the comedy was bad. It's just how you take it in. And for me personally, I didn't find this movie funny at all. And as a matter of fact, this movie, first of all, really overstays its welcome. It is just shy. It is 3 minutes shy of a 2-hour-long movie. For reference, Happy Gilmore, along with many comedies, are traditionally 90 minutes long, an hour and a half. This is nearly 2 hours long. And when I tell you that I barely let out a chuckle during this movie, I didn't really laugh at all in this movie. And one of the reasons why I didn't laugh very much in this movie, first of all, I just didn't think it was very funny. I thought a lot of the jokes and a lot of the gags were very lazy and rehashed, and they just weren't very innovative or interesting to me. But at the same time, there was a very mean-spirited streak that went along in this movie. In the first Happy Gilmore is a man with a short fuse. He does go off on people, but there's always a kindness and a good-hearted nature to not just what Happy Gilmore's doing in that film, but that film as a whole. And as crazy as it gets, and as mean as Happy can get in that movie, there's always this kind of light-hearted, wholesome feeling that that entire movie has to it. Happy Gilmore 2 has none of that. Happy Gilmore is throwing people into lobster tanks. There's sequences of people getting thrown into alligator pits and being torn apart for a joke. There are things that they do in this film that didn't even feel like it was a part of the world of Happy Gilmore, let alone funny to me. And I guess I should just address the elephant in the room. This movie lost me in the first 5 minutes. And when I say this movie lost me in the first 5 minutes, it's definitely something that's going to be of a preference to some people, because some people aren't even going to care about what happened to Happy in this movie. They're just going to go in expecting an Adam Sandler comedy. They're just going to sit down, they want to watch it, and they want to enjoy it, and some people will, some people won't. In fact, this movie has, last I checked, a 64% fresh score on Rotten Tomatoes. So this is a fresh scored movie, at least from the critics. Critics, the majority of them are liking this, so I'm definitely in the minority. The critics prove it on Rotten Tomatoes. But this movie starts off, and slight spoilers, or I guess spoiler alert in this section in particular, if you care about Happy Gilmore 2, spoilers. At the beginning of this movie, Happy Gilmore kills his wife in a golf accident. He hits his wife in the head with a golf ball, and it's Julia Bowen. It's the same woman who was in the first film, his love interest from the first film, got married, they had kids. He kills her in a golf accident, and that's why he gives up golf in the beginning of this film, and then he becomes an alcoholic, depressed man who lost all of his money, lost grandma's house, and now lives in this dump in this shady neighborhood with his daughter and his sons, and he's hiding flasks around the house. He's hiding flasks. In fact, that's a big running gag in this entire movie, is Happy Gilmore is just hiding flasks everywhere and drinking himself to death. And he's also like got to go to rehab in this movie and get his life together in that kind of way. And like I said, that's just a creative choice that Adam Sandler decided to go with this sequel. I personally hate that creative choice. You could say it works for the story. You can say it's fine for the character because at least the character is in a place at the beginning of the film, but then he has an arc and he gets out of that place at the end of the film. I don't care. I was turned off. I hated the beginning. And it's a lot of reason why some people don't like, or a lot of people don't like Alien 3. Alien 3, I think, personally, is a fine made movie. I actually pretty much enjoy Alien 3, but a lot of people cannot get past the point that they killed off characters from the previous film and kind of undermined their successful victory at the end of Aliens. That's kind of how I felt, as crazy as it might sound, at the beginning of Happy Gilmore 2, where he kills his wife and goes into this depressive alcoholic binge for years. I sat there watching my screen going, I don't believe this. In some cases, it might be a brilliant choice. It might be a brilliant joke, because it's almost like Adam Sandler is playing on the joke that when they do legacy sequels and they bring these characters back all these years later, they usually end up tarnishing their legacy. Look at Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi, for example. So maybe Adam Sandler is doing something really smart here, where he's kind of getting into that mindset of people expect our heroes from years ago, when they come back onto the screen, that they're not the same characters, or they're in a terrible place than you saw them before. Maybe that's the joke. But I didn't like that choice at all. And it turned me off from the movie right off the bat. And as the movie goes on, admittedly, when Happy Gilmore's trying to get back into the golf scene, and he's working on his skills again because he's pretty rusty, and there's some interesting character moments in that development. But I could never get past the beginning of this film, because the whole movie, really, the crutch of it is the death of his wife. And I just really hated that choice. On top of that, I just felt that this movie was very unrealistic, very cartoonish, and over the top when it comes to cartooniness. Where the first Happy Gilmore, it's not like down to earth realistic or anything. It's got heightened moments. Happy Gilmore fights a freaking alligator for a golf ball, for crying out loud. But it does feel like it's set in a reality. This has no reality in it at all. There was nothing in this movie that felt believable to me. And when nothing in this movie feels believable, the comedy is very hard for me to digest. A good example of this is what they do with Shooter McGavin, where Shooter McGavin is now he's been in this mental institution ever since the ending of the first Happy Gilmore, for trying to steal the golden jacket at the end of that film. And he's now in this loony bin, and his whole character is not even on this planet anymore. The way that he is portrayed, it doesn't even feel like this Shooter McGavin and the Shooter McGavin from the first Happy Gilmore share the same earth, let alone are the same characters. At least that's how it came across to me. And going to the mean-spiritedness that I found in Happy Gilmore 2, when Shooter McGavin and Happy Gilmore do meet for the first time, it's taking place in this cemetery where they get into this fist fight. And on the tombs that they keep passing by are character names from people who have passed away from since the first film. And some people I've seen online are saying that that's a nice homage and that that's a great way to honor those who they lost from films in between the filmings. I found it very distasteful. Personally, I didn't think that was a good way to honor the characters. It made it feel like their deaths were the joke in the scene. Maybe that's just me, but that's just how it came across to me. And it was a big turnoff. It instantly, I just really disliked that scene. It did not work for me in that sense. And going on with the homages that they do in this film, this movie relies so much on the nostalgia for the first film. It's embarrassing. There are so many cameos in this film that are not even characters. They're just celebrities that you recognize, that come, YouTubers, hosts from talk shows, all these people that just kind of come in and they play lineage characters to characters from the first film. And every time they're introduced, this film cuts back to a flashback of the first Happy Gilmore movie to show you who they are, as if we don't have streaming technology, as if we don't have the ability to watch Happy Gilmore right before we watch Happy Gilmore 2, or go back and watch Happy Gilmore after Happy Gilmore 2. This movie, like, holds your hand as to, like, what you're supposed to be remembering and referencing to the first film. It is incredibly lazy. It was not necessary to have these flashback clips in this movie, because people who are watching this movie, they love Happy Gilmore. They've probably been watching it for 30 years. They remember all this stuff. You don't need to hold our hand and show us a better movie than this one that we'd rather be watching. And like I said, a lot of this stuff, some of it's going to work for people. I mean, it's got 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, for crying out loud. But for me, this felt like a movie that just missed the mark in every single. There was no hole in one. there was no hole at all. The ball never made it. It was just, in and of itself, a very disappointing experience for me. With all that said, I would say that if you like the first Happy Gilmore movie, I really find it hard to suggest that you should watch this one. Again, I'm in the minority. The majority, at least, are enjoying this film. But for me, it didn't really have anything that I liked about the first Happy Gilmore movie, aside from the character of Happy Gilmore, which, like I said, I think Adam Sandler did a pretty good job bringing back all these years. And I did like seeing some of the cast return as well. But when it comes to the story and the script, and especially the comedy, which at the core of this movie, it has to make you laugh. It's a comedy. I didn't laugh. I felt more frustration than I did feel joy or laughter from this film. In a lot of ways, this film was worse than I feared it would be, because not only did I feel it tarnished the legacy of Happy Gilmore, I felt like it completely undermines the happy feeling at the end of that film that I get, because of where it picks up and because of what it chooses to do with these characters all these years later. Some people will say I'm just belly aching. Some people will say it's just a comedy, man. It's just have fun with it. It's all subjective. This was my experience. This was my viewing disappointment with the film, you could say. I don't recommend this film. In fact, I strongly do not recommend this film. This film, to me, feels like something you would find in McGavin's breakfast bowl.
You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.
That's just my opinion, though, guys. What did you think of Happy Gilmore 2? Did it work for you? Did you enjoy it? Comment down below. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions on that. You can check out more content up there if you enjoy content like this. Right down there is the most recently uploaded video to the channel. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And don't just watch movies, talk movies. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. My goodness, this was bad.